Hey, Don.
Hey, Jacob.
Do you want to break some rules?
But I really like following
I know,
rules.
you big dork. Well, let's go break some rules. Some photography rules.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, photography has traditionally a bunch of rules that you learn, especially in photography school.
Yes.
And you should follow them.
Yes.
Until you want to break them.
Yes.
So we're going to go over a bunch of topics of rules that you should follow until you don't anymore. Mm-hmm. But as always, you must learn the rules before you can break the rules.
And learn like why it makes an impact to break that rule.
Yeah. Because if you're just breaking them for the sake of breaking them, you're not actually accomplishing anything. Usually it's going to look like doo-doo. So, go ahead, start. I'm going to sit on my hands.
Jacob's like a little kid today. In school, learning the rules.
I do have to go potty.
You had an opportunity.
Nope. We truck on. Move forward.
Okay, so first one, kind of just softball. Blown out skies aren't the end of the world.
Yes. So a lot of times, and maybe because we grew up in Disney, which sounds weird, blue skies were important. Mm-hmm. And rightfully so in a lot of cases. We were shooting at castles and things that needed to be exposed for.
Right. People don't pay thousands of dollars to come to Disney to see a blown out castle in the background.
Yeah.
They come for blue skies and white puffy clouds.
Yep. So we would always shoot that way, which required lots of lights and, you know, and over time I realized that that's sometimes you'd get stuck in always shooting that for every scenario. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, so we had both sides of that coin, right? So we had one company we were shooting for where we always had to have blue skies, white puffy clouds, everything fully exposed, and then just use the lights to balance the people. And then we had another company we were shooting for where they didn't care what the sky looked like. You weren't allowed to use a light outside while the sun was up, and you just had to backlight them. And, you know, sometimes that meant a West Coast wedding at sunset. Still no lights.
Yep.
Everything was blown out. But I do think there are opportunities in the middle that make sense.
And I find myself just over time, and this was even at Disney, where I was like, I started to not really like the full exposed blue sky. I felt it was too fake. The flash was too flash. Because to do that, you're going at such high powers of your flash that there's no diffusion in the world unless, you know, you have a cinematic light that's plugged in and weighs 900 pounds to make it look soft.
Right. So, and don't forget too, like we're always balancing in a professional setting, like in a real life professional setting, right? We're on a family portrait. Not all families are patient enough or their kids have attention spans long enough for us to have like two 600s with 70-inch softboxes to perfectly light them.
Yeah.
Like,
and then on a wedding, it's even
practical.
less so.
Yeah.
It is run and gun. So I just grew to not like that shot as much, where I slowly would lower my power and bring my exposure up. So you're still getting castle, you're still getting some blue sky, but it was more of a hazy in between. And that kind of became more of my style. And they pushed back for a while. They're like, it's not perfect blue sky. I was like, yeah, but it's more natural. It's not fully like the other company where it's all natural light. It is still flash, but it's balanced with letting in a little bit more ambient light into the scene.
Right. And the whole idea behind not blowing out the sky is that whatever is the brightest thing in the image is what draws your attention. And so you want your subject to be the brightest thing in the image. So I think there's also times where your composition will negate that as well. Like if your image is composed where like not very much of the sky is even showing, or, you know, it's just the sky behind all of the trees and leaves, like that doesn't need to be crisply blue and then have all those deep shadows that come along with it where you have to blast your subject with flash. Like your eye isn't going to get drawn to the little bit of sky between the leaves.
I agree.
So.
And I don't really F around with high-speed sync very often, too. I fall in that same category where I think it starts looking too fake for me. For me. Where it's just too much. So, like, yeah, like, I would stop at 200 or 250 because that was my base. I couldn't physically go any higher. So that means to balance it, that required, more or less light, whatever. I also the same way of when the sun is coming into the camera. A lot of people want to go to sunny 14, 16 to get that starburst. I don't really care about the starburst. That's just, again, personally me. It's never been something like, I need to see that. I need to see that starburst. I get the sun in there, but it's an appropriate amount for what I feel I like.
I think it depends on, like, it depends on what it is. Like, I'll do both.
Yeah.
But
sometimes I think when you're looking at a full wedding album,
not mine. That was definitely Crystal.
Sometimes it's too dramatic for what the whole day is. You know what I mean? Like when you have this one photo that, of course, you love as a photographer, but then you look through the rest of the album and it doesn't match the rest of the day. I think about that and try to balance it. Maybe that's just me.
Hey, that's why there are rules, and you get to decide when you break them and why.
Because I'm a professional.
So I think another thing that you see, I'll see it in photography forums still, you learned about it in school, is like you can't go above whatever ISO.
Correct.
So some like old school people will still say like you shouldn't be shooting above 400 ISO. And then like the next generation.
I grew up in the 2000. Never go past 2000s. And
never.
And those, the DSLRs, those first ones, the 5D Mark IIs, the Nikon...
The 750s.
Don't go above 2000 ISO. It was unusable. The image was unusable. And I agree with that. And so like it just seared my brain to never go above 2000. So now in these newer cameras, like, yeah, go. I still have a very like visceral reaction of clicking it above 2000. And yeah, but we should be able to. Between that and denoise, like we have all the tools in the world to easily go 6400.
Yeah.
And
as long as your image is properly lit. If it's not properly lit, it's still going to look like garbage. Yeah. But yes. Yeah, I actually got, I had a job interview for a photography position, and they gave me a scenario in the interview. And it was like, okay, so you're only shooting available light. You're in a restaurant. There are big windows. What would your settings be? Oh, and then there's big windows, and then there's tungsten overhead light. What would your settings be? And I was like, well, first off, I would try to turn off the tungsten light. Secondly, what is it like outside the window? Is it a bright sunny day? Is it an alleyway? Like what's it? And then she was like, it's an overcast day. So I was like, okay, my white balance would be this. Probably 6,000 or 7,000. My ISO would be like 1250, 1600. I might be at 2.8 if it's just one person, because if they're moving around, I don't want the shutter speed too low, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, good. I was doing that question specifically to make sure that you knew you could shoot at 1250 or 1600. Like, we want you to push your ISO. We don't want you to keep a low ISO because your camera can handle it. Like, the JPEGs will be fine.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And it was an entire interview question just for that point of using a high ISO.
But for so long, we've been beaten into the head. Don't go above this. Don't go. So, like, I got a little PTSD when I click a little bit higher.
And also, denoise. But, like, even if it was a little noisy, the amount you would have to zoom in
also correct
to see the noise is also not realistic. Especially because 95% of people are looking at their pictures on this.
Look sharp to me. So, shooting at a wider aperture than what people would say is traditional. So, how do you want to say this?
Let's say we're doing group photos.
A group photo. So right off the bat, you tell me it's a group photo. My first thought is 5.6. At least, just minimum, like to start. Like that's where my head goes.
That's not where your aperture goes, but that's where you're
Just because, again, you're trying to not get people blurry on the edges, right? Sharp all the way through. Some people would go f8. But, somewhere in there.
Well, and there's like kind of, like set rules of, okay, if you've got 4 people, you could be at F4. If you have like 5 to 7 people, you're at 5.6. If you have like 10 more, then you're at F8. Yep. Like, because you want your depth of field to be so that no one's face is out of focus.
But I know a lot of people will shoot wider than that. And why? How could you get away with that, though?
So as long as everyone is in the same focal plane and you know the limit of your, if you know that your lens gets blurry on the edges and the people are all close enough to the center of the image that won't affect them or whatever.
Especially on some zooms, like a 24 to 70 may be blurry at 24, but at 50, you could actually do that. So you also need to know your focal lengths,
right?
How far away you need to be.
But it goes, you could do a group of 10 at 2.8 as long as they were all perfectly in line. It's just the realistic, how realistic is it to have everyone perfectly in line?
And I know a few people that will break that rule and shoot at that. Now, me personally, I'm not even going to risk that. I'm still going to shoot it at 5.6, f8, depending on how big of a group is. Because more than likely I have it lit anyway. So I don't need to worry about
the exposure.
So, but yes, you can break it as long as you keep everyone in the same plane.
And you keep it in the safe zone for whatever.
And some people, this goes into high-speed sync, which we kind of talked about. A lot of people like high-speed sync, which means you can push your shutter to like a thousandth of a second, which gives you some really, really cool backgrounds. But that means to properly expose it, you're shooting at 2.8, even with flash, just to get enough ambient light in there. So that's one reason why people would do that, but not for me, but sure.
We stick to our trusty 4.5 unless we have, more people. Group photos at bar mitzvahs or weddings or table shots where you've got people sitting around a curved table. Those I'm normally at f8, f10.
I'll shoot it at 1.8. It's fine.
I'd rather know for sure than risk having one person not in focus.
Yeah.
Ignoring. Okay, so the exposure triangle. I guess the rule is using the exposure triangle.
Did we talk about this before?
We did talk about it last episode.
I thought it was a myth. Ignoring the exposure triangle. Explain again what the exposure triangle is.
It's the relationship between the f-stop, the shutter speed, and the ISO.
And a triangle.
Yes. And if you adjust one, however much you adjust one, you could adjust the other two to match it, and you'd get back to the same base exposure.
So we were taught, to keep, not necessarily to keep it, but to try and keep it as triangle-y as possible. If you have, if this is your exposure and it's locked down, then you change your f-stop, then you need to change either your ISO or the shutter to make the triangle conform again.
Right, or your combination of the two.
But what are ways that you can completely ignore that, though? Because there are ways, for sure, you need to ignore your triangle.
Well, a lot of people just don't know what it is, so they just they just use the exposure preview on their cameras and turn their dials 100 million times until they get to what they want.
But another one is adding your own flash or adding light. You are going to...
Well, yeah, so the exposure triangle is just for your base exposure.
Correct.
It's not for your whole picture.
But if you want to ignore it because you're like, okay, this is my exposure, but I actually need to underexpose it, to get those blue skies, you are actually wonking out the triangle, but you're going to add in light to balance it. I know that sounds confusing if you don't know what we're talking about, but who cares?
Wonking it out is definitely a very specific photography term.
Aren't we in delight? So yes, we ignore the exposure triangle all the time.
Yes. Well, we prove it just by the fact that we have to turn off the exposure preview function of our mirrorless cameras for half of our jobs.
Correct.
Because it doesn't matter what the base exposure is because we're just I'm
making my own exposure.
Yeah, we're bringing all the light that we need. Yeah.
Otherwise, sometimes my exposure preview is just dark. It's just black. Can't see anything. No. And then all of a sudden, a photo appears.
Yes. Oh, man.
What about, here's one. The rules of thirds. Rule of thirds. See, I don't know what it is. I've never cared about it. And there's other compositional rules too, but the rule of thirds. The rules of turds.
Okay, so rule of thirds, imagine I have it set up in my viewfinder, but imagine your picture as two vertical lines and two horizontal lines. So you make a grid of 9 boxes. And what is most visually appealing is if your subject is at the intersection of any of those lines.
Any of them. So you should have
you have 4 choices.
4 lines.
You have 2 horizontal, 2 vertical. So you've got 4 intersection points that can be, and it could run along one of those lines as well. You've got your your landscape image, and then your couple is
Here,
you know,
and
they're
then
not centered, they're on
They
that line.
I probably follow it more than I think I do because I don't really think about it anymore. But there are definitely times to break it all the time.
So one time that really sticks in my brain of breaking the rule of thirds is well, at Disney, we need one of the album options for couples gives them the album cover is an image that wraps around the whole front and back of the image.
Yep.
So you need an image that looks good when you're just looking at half of it. But if you're centering your couple on half of that image, when you open it to see the whole image, they are so far to one side of the image. So, you know, there are functional reasons. Another time that
Also, you know what always gets me there is because it's an album, they always want the couple on the right. And as me, as a whatever brained I am, I put them left because I shoot left to right.
I know.
And they need to be right to left because the book opens up that way, the back end.
Yep. I always favor that side as well.
I'm always left to right. That's how I read. That's how I shoot.
The other times that I'm always breaking this rule, or really any composition rules, is for branding and marketing.
Yeah.
You know, the images are not intended for them to stand on their own. They're intended to leave a lot of open white space or negative space for them to put text over top of it, or to put a graphic of something else in the negative space. Like
a lot of composition rules are like when you shoot a headshot, you're not supposed to leave a ton of headspace, and that's a perfect example of like, no, I am leaving
put the little thought bubble over top, or you know, whatever thing we decided upon. Or I'm shooting much wider than I need, so I have lots of different crop options, whether it's vertical, horizontal, square. So I kind of like ignore composition for the most part when I'm doing marketing images, because it's not about the composition. Like the final product will be well composed, but the composition rules kind of assume like a 2x3 image.
Yeah.
Right? They're not assuming a 9x16 image, or, you know, a computer screen or a TikTok reel cover. Like,
yep.
So yeah, those are times for me that composition just kind of goes out the window altogether.
Well, into that though, what about posing rules? What do we pose people that you're supposed to break?
So, you know, when you're posing people, so let's say it's two people, you would ideally have like one person's eye line up with the next person's mouth. So, you know, they're a little bit, one's taller than the other. Cool. That's great when they're that size.
Yeah.
It's also great when there's like furniture around to use, but I'm not carrying around like an apple box for a bride to stand on.
Yeah, like a traditional like a group photo looks best when there's multiple layers and levels.
Right.
Now they're not all
triangles.
They're not just all standing in a single line, but a lot of times that is just straight impractical, impossible,
or what you need to have, you know, like you need to bring in some chairs for people to sit.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times I'm trying to do it's a 40-person family photo that no one told me about, and so I'm pulling chairs in to get some people sitting and then a row of people standing and then the tallest people in the back. No one wants to sit. Yeah. And like I'm not going to sit there and argue with them and tell them like, well, it's going to be a bad picture because you won't sit. And I'm not going to force people to sit either. Like,
yeah,
I'm still providing a service. It doesn't matter what I want.
And sometimes, like, grandpa should be standing because he's tall, but he can't stand, so he's got to sit. So you're always breaking the rules of these posing ideas.
And, like, I remember having this conversation. So I used to help with training at Disney when we had our new photographers. And we had a posing class. And we would bring in like a bunch of photographers and we would assign familial roles. Like, okay, you're the dad, you're the mom, you're the little kid, so you have to stay on your knees to simulate a little kid or whatever.
This wasn't true.
And then the new photographers would have to practice like building a family pose. And I remember getting into an argument one day because what made sense the most for the family pose, you know, this was for like a larger family grouping, didn't align with like the order of things. Yeah. Like I'm going to always have the wedding couple, and then next closest to them is their parents. Then next closest is siblings, or maybe it's parents and then grandparents and then siblings. And I'm going to keep the sibling and their spouse and kid together, even if it makes more sense with triangles and levels to have the kid on the other. Like, I'm not going to split up family units.
Little pods.
Yeah, so I remember having this argument with, like, one of our managers, like, well, which is more important then? It visually looking good or it making sense to that family?
Yeah.
And ultimately, it was like, well, I mean, yeah, it needs to make sense for the family. It needs to, you shouldn't separate families.
Breaking the rules.
Yes.
What about posing couples? Posing an individual bride? Honestly, nowadays, it all goes out the window
You have
anyway.
a new rule.
Everything I used to learn about posing is they do anyway.
Yeah.
Accentuating themselves, coming closer to the camera. Things we told to hey, avoid, like bend away from the camera, twist away from the camera. Now they're just like, meh. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's tough now.
Yeah.
I feel like I get lucky with most of my brides don't have an opinion or they don't know what to do and they want me to just tell them what to do and I can still pose them. But I had a recent family portrait with a 7-year-old. I didn't tell her a single thing to do. I would just be like, okay, new pose. Okay, new pose. Okay. We made it all the way to the end of the session without that. But yeah, just let them go because they know what they like.
A rule that I don't know if I ever heard this rule, but it makes sense. But I know people say I only shoot at golden hour, never during the day, and that sounds great if you're not a real photographer.
If you don't need to stack multiple sessions in a day,
Yeah.
Or, I try. I would love to shoot everything at golden hour.
Sunrise, sunset.
Yeah, but when you've got families who it doesn't line up with nap time or when the ceremony is at 2 p.m. and you don't get to have a say.
Yeah. When you shoot somewhere at Disney that has 10 weddings a day, only one of them can be at golden hour. So.
Yep. Yeah, and along with that, I also was always taught to have the sun behind me.
I break that rule all the time.
I never do that.
No, that sounds awful.
I never do that unless it's overcast.
Yeah.
Because if you're, I get it for architecture or landscape or whatever, because then you have nice light coming into your image. But for people, that just logistically means they're squinting.
Always. And they're orange.
Yeah. And the way the sun picks up any little bit of sweat or...
I feel that was before people knew how to use flash really good, because now you put their backs to the sun, then they're not squinting. Let me be the one baking, and I can expose properly for it. Ooh, this is definitely yours.
Focus and things being in focus and not having motion blur.
That is a rule. Do not have things out of focus, right?
Yes.
When we were young and dumb, anything out of focus was a mistake.
Garbage.
Now, that's all they want.
Now, I am asked. Someone pays me to be out of focus and have motion blur.
And guess what? That's one rule we can't break.
I can't.
Can't do it. I can mistakenly do it. I do it all the time.
I did it on one wedding. It wasn't my wedding. It was a freelance wedding. And it was on their list of requests. And I said, okay. And I stood out there in bright sunlight.
I wouldn't even know
still.
how to be out of focus, honestly.
They were standing completely still, and I was shooting at 1/25th of a second.
I think I'd rather just manually unfocus it.
I went, okay, guys. Okay, here's another. I hated every second of it. It was so dumb.
I think I would just manually put it in manual focus and unfocused it and taken a photo and do all that.
I just was spinning my lens all the time to make the blur, because they didn't want it with them moving. They wanted to be standing still. I don't know.
Don't break that rule, okay?
It'll be gone soon.
Yeah. Always shooting below. So when you're hand holding a camera, I was always taught you should never shoot. Your shutter should never go below the reciprocal length of the lens. What does that mean?
If you're on a 70 to 200.
It's the highest number. So you should never go below 200th of a second.
Yes.
1 over 200. If you're shooting an 85, you should never go below, would be 80th of a second.
Right. Yeah, break that all.
Yeah. Honestly, until we started doing this, I forgot it was even a rule.
Well, here's the thing. You just have to learn on each set of equipment what your minimum shutter speed is. How low can you go without introducing motion blur in the image or shake in the image?
Yeah.
Because I've definitely shot on a 70-200 on our old Nikon, like the D850.
Heavy motherfucker.
70-200 at like 1/20th of a second.
Yep.
And it was fine. Now, it was mostly dark, and I was shooting with flash, and the flash helped freeze my couple, but I could hold steady, if I... This is where you have to, like, really spread the feet.
I always go in this position. Keep it tight. Yep.
Tuck in the arms.
Learn to breathe.
Try to brace. Breathe in. Step, step, step. Yeah. Or, it's still handheld, but I'll, I can keep it for longer if I'm like laying down and I have my elbows propped.
Yeah.
And then it's like an extra support. I mean, I break that all the time. But you have to know, you have to practice and know how far you can go.
Yeah, if you just go out there shooting with a really heavy 70-200 at 1/20th of a second without knowing what you're doing, then they're going to be blurry.
But it doesn't have to be hard and fast always. All right. Always shoot raw.
Yeah,
Raw
always.
is king. Don't ever shoot anything other than raw.
Always shoot raw. Why would you need all the data?
I mean, I do always shoot raw.
This is true.
But I also always shoot JPEG.
But we talked about this. We shoot both.
Yes.
And we deliver usually
just JPEGs.
Just JPEGs.
Not to our own clients. But to
yeah.
When we freelance.
For us, raw is a backup.
Yes.
If the JPEGs are good enough, then they're no different than what you're going to turn the RAWs into.
No. Okay, here's the thing with Fuji. The JPEG is always better
than
the RAW going through Lightroom, unless I messed up.
Yeah.
If I didn't get the color right or the exposure right. And honestly, that's all I ever really fix in Lightroom.
Me too.
Just the exposure and white balance. So if they're right, then the JPEG, it's not even any smaller.
No. It's the same.
I actually had one company I worked for, 2 companies. They told me I need to shoot on smaller JPEGs because my JPEGs straight out of camera were too big.
What?
So one company I shoot on medium JPEG and another one I shoot on small JPEG.
But you should still shoot raw. You should always have those backup.
Yeah.
But you can shoot.
You can get amazing pictures from JPEG. You don't need to start with a raw file if you know what you're doing.
Correct. This is mine. Your photos should always tell a story. False. We take 3,000 photos on a wedding, okay? The whole thing tells a story. Not every single photo needs to be. And I think some photographers forget this, where they're like, there's 10,000 family photos, and then there's this photo, and there's this detail. It doesn't tell a story. It just needs to be taken. It's documentation.
Yes.
Of the day.
Yes.
Again, when you look through my entire gallery, there's a full story there.
Yeah, there's a lot of functions for photos. Like when we shoot nonprofit events, we're taking all these decor photos. Like it's not because they want to look back at their decor photos. It's so that next year when they play and they can be like, crap, what did we do last year? When was the last time we used these centerpieces? Has it been long enough? There's a functional purpose to it.
What a story.
Like it's not magical.
You tell me every photo we take isn't magical? It doesn't mean single photos can tell a story. Some obviously do. And we will capture those and we will create those a lot of times.
Right.
But not every single one has to tell a story. Some of them just need to be there.
Yes. You just have to take them.
All
right. And then last one. No Dutch angles.
No Dutch angles.
What is a Dutch angle?
You take your camera and you tilt it like this.
So I feel like
they come and go.
Because it's crazy that I've been shooting for long enough for them to be cool and then not cool and now they're cool again.
I feel it's one of those when you start to, you do it a lot. I think I did it a lot. And then you realize it's not necessary. But then there are ones, it's usually architecturally related, where you do a Dutch angle because it fits the way the lines are, the columns, whatever.
Yeah, like I remember I think it was the wedding company we freelance for. It was like one of my test engagement sessions for her to like give me feedback to like get me to their style. And it was at a park, but the park had one of those wooden post fences where it wasn't slats. It was like a post and then like posts, like round post between.
It's a lot of posts.
But it looked, the couple was at the end, and I was shooting along that, and having it at a Dutch angle, like, fed the lines directly to them better, which they didn't like because they don't want any Dutch angles or rule of thirds or anything. But yeah, I remember, like, it always is, like, a man-made thing that we are incorporating that the Dutch angle tends to work better with.
I tend to like a 14 now better. I'd rather, if you want a little bit of curve, not a fisheye, just a nice 14 that can give you that curve without having to go like crazy. But every once in a while, sometimes a veil shot looks great when it's, if the veil is curving this way, sometimes the Dutch angle with it really enhances it. If you're close enough.
Yep.
Like I said, it's literally the don't do it until you need to.
Until it looks better to do it.
Correct.
Yeah. It happens.
All right. There's some rules. Did we miss any?
Yeah, what photography rules do you like to break? Or which ones do you not agree with our opinions on?
I know a rule we should break. Don't be a photographer. Choose something else. Anything. Please.
Start a podcast.
Yeah, start a podcast.
All right, so what did you shoot this week?
What did I shoot? I was actually pretty busy. I had a Disney wedding, which is weird because neither of us have shot like a lot of Disney weddings lately, but all of a sudden...
It's the time.
It's that time. Mine was a vow renewal.
Jacob's bread and butter.
Older couple, just having a vow renewal. They had, though, there was between their 3 kids and then all the other families, like sisters, and then their kids, there was like 15 kids, and each one of them dressed as a prince or princess. And of course, they wanted like photos on the staircase of that. And I was like, Corinne, you go do that. I'm going to take a smoke break over here. But like fully dressed up, like
that's cute.
Every little character you can think of. And then I did the opening team photo for the new Zootopia attraction at Animal Kingdom, which we have discussed.
Yes. If you really want to know Jacob's true thoughts, go back to episode 64 for our Not Photography Corner. So
was all these executives being like, oh, did you go to the preview? What'd you think? I was like, yeah, don't watch my podcast. But it was done at 5 a.m. It was weird, though, because... not weird, but they wanted to do it in front of the actual entrance. And if you know, Animal Kingdom is so overgrown now with all the trees, you can't actually see the Tree of Life. I probably would have still done it in the front, but they wanted the sign. And these,
did you have like the front entrance or like the
queue, the standby entrance where the sign is?
Okay.
Standby and Lightning Lane entrance. So that was our backdrop. With the tree is back there, but you can't see it because there's so much foliage around. But now if we've been, I don't know, started like last year or so, they've been doing these where it used to be just a group photo, done. Now it's like we do the group photo and then attractions and then engineering and then Imagineers. So we do like multiple group photos. So they're actually much more involved now, but yeah.
Cool.
We just went on a slim pole, really high up in the air. 6 lights, 5 lights.
I've still never done one of those.
That's my, it's my bread and butter. I want to be a part of all the attractions.
But I've never done a slim pole.
Oh.
I don't even know how it works.
It's just a camera on a pole with a device, and you have an iPad, and you can see it live and just hit shoot.
Crazy.
It's pretty cool. The scariest one is when we did the Rise of the Resistance group photo before the ride opened, and they just like uncovered all those stormtroopers, and we put that pole all the way to the top of the hangar. So what is that, 75 feet?
Goodness.
And it's just hanging up there like swaying above those stormtroopers.
How does it stay like upright without falling over? Like, is there just someone holding the pole?
No, the pole is like it's very heavy, like,
okay.
Like
it stabilizes itself.
It is humongous and very heavy.
Okay.
So it stabilizes itself. But still, anytime you're still 75 feet in the air, like there's a little...
yeah. Like nobody sneezes.
And it sits on a motor that you can allow it to pan and tilt. So that heaviness sometimes, like if you do that, it'll be like... I
don't think I would like that.
I'll show I have the photo of the Rise of Resistance one. I'll show that one where we shot towards the entrance of the hangar. So they're all in the background with the TIE fighter and the...
Very cool.
But yeah, so always a big fan of that. And what else did I do? I don't know. The dessert party with Amy. Shout out Amy. That's it.
Boop, boop.
I was just the second. And then I had a wedding in Tampa with our freelance partner. And it was one of those where they were you ever been the Vinoy Hotel? Mm-mm. It's a very fancy hotel, but they were literally having like 3 weddings there. Whew. And they were getting ready there, but they weren't having their wedding there. And the hotel basically said, you can't do photos in the hotel because they have so many people getting married at the hotel. Like I walked in and there was like a wedding party coming through. And then when we walked them out, there was another wedding party shooting out front. So we went to that park across the street. That's and did photos there. Mm-hmm. But then we had to drive to Sunken Gardens and do all that stuff there. And it gets dark quick. Mm-hmm. Someone was at 5:30.
Yeah, it's dark by then. That wasn't planned well.
No. Especially for a company that wants to shoot all natural light. So all their newlywed photos are flash. But there's nothing I could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I have one coming up. It's at Bach Tower, and the ceremony is at
I haven't been to Bach Tower in a while.
4:30. So formals are from 5 to 6. But Bach Tower, there's so many trees.
It gets dark quick.
It gets darker sooner because the sun drops below the tree line before it hits the horizon. And the bride has some sort of medical condition where I'm not supposed to use a flash for as long, like as much as possible. And we did the call and we were like trying to explain like, okay, but then you need to move up stuff.
Yeah.
Because your newlywed photos will be after sunset. And even then, like your family photos at 5 o'clock are going to be dark.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what I'm going to do. But I mean, it's okay if I use it.
Just use the flash. Okay.
But I have to use it as sparingly as possible, and there's a chance she might tell me I have to stop, and then like I don't know what I'm gonna do. ISO 6400.
Just keep shooting.
So cool.
What'd you shoot?
So I had a wedding at Bridal Oaks.
Yeah, what's up, Bridal Oaks?
It's a cute venue.
I don't think I've been there in a while.
Yeah, I think maybe the last time
was you and I.
Well, me, you, and Stephanie.
That's right.
I left and then you guys finished the party. But they had their donkey. So they have a donkey that comes out for cocktail hour. And this wedding...
It's got a great ass.
They had like 5 children in the wedding party, all under the age of 5. Like littles.
Pass.
And I was shooting by myself.
That's a photography rule you should not break.
But the bride and groom wanted a picture just with all the kids. Because I don't think... they did have some adults, but anyways, whatever. So I'm by myself. Planners are nowhere to be seen. Which, I mean, I didn't need them there, but like I was the only professional in the space, right?
The only adult.
And I literally have the camera to my face as we're doing the goo goo gaga, like everybody look at me, adults look at me, kids look at me. And the woman with the donkey keeps trying to tell me that I have to do the pictures with the bride and groom now or they have to go here. Like she's giving me these directions, but it wasn't like we were waiting for that. It was the kids were physically looking at me and I was like, I can't talk to you right now. Like there's one kid that kept screaming and the mom would like pick him up, drop him in, and I'm like shooting really fast to get him before he walks out again. Like just complete insanity. So we finished that set of photos and the woman had already walked away and I go up to the bride and groom. I was like, I don't know what she just told me. Something about the donkey. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, why was she trying to do that right then? I'm like,
I don't
know. So, but I guess they only let the donkey come to the ceremony site for a couple minutes before it goes to cocktail hour, which in my head, I'm like, well, if we miss it, we'll just go to cocktail hour.
He's a union donkey, so.
Like, it was. Anyways, Bridal Oaks. Then I had headshots for a professional association. So they're like all HR managers. And I go to their board retreat every year, set up.
Oh, I'm bored. But
do headshots.
Story, so.
Then I had a bar mitzvah at the temple. Then I had another bat mitzvah at a different temple where...
And I couldn't be at.
Nope.
Because I was in Tampa.
You couldn't be at any of it. Well, I couldn't be at one of them. So I did the bar mitzvah at the temple, one temple. Then the bat mitzvah at another temple. We did like staged photos, but then I also got to photograph the first half hour of the candle lighting service. I got to basically take pictures until sunset, and then I had to leave. And then the next day was the party for the first bar mitzvah group, but I also had a wedding. So Stephanie and Amy had to shoot the party while I was shooting the wedding. And my wedding was at Lakeside Reception Hall on OBT. So it was like 10 minutes from here. Just went up Lee Road, left on OBT right there, which was great. It was so nice to have such a short commute. But it was 2 brides, and they had like the bridal suite and the groom suite. So they both wanted to use the bridal suite. But they didn't want to see each other.
It's not going to be enough.
So we had to switch. Time. We had to keep like switching rooms, which would have been fine, except that the one bride had like her parents and her 6 siblings. They all had a second outfit they were wearing for a surprise dance they were doing.
Okay.
And so we couldn't let the other bride see any of that. So we had to literally like take everything out, walk it to a conference room, move the other bride in, take everything, move it to the other room.
These are all photography rules you shouldn't break.
But they were both very sweet. They were very young. One of the brides was born the day after September 11th.
That's pretty cool.
And I was like, oh no. But they're very sweet. It was a fun party. So yeah, that was my week. It was a lot. All of those things happened aside from the first wedding. All of that happened in 2 days.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Okay. So you wanted to talk about our
I know.
Not Photography Corner.
But it's for you.
No, it's for you.
Well, but you read books. You like books. But I listened for the first time ever to two audiobooks. Mm-hmm. So I'm now a book lover.
Yeah. So Jacob, fun fact, had never read an audiobook before.
You listen to an audiobook.
Anyways.
So I listened to 2 books.
Uh-huh.
I did enjoy it. And the 2 books were very good.
You want to tell us about them?
Not really.
Okay.
The first book was a book called Project Hail Mary, which is a movie coming out next year? This year?
No.
December?
It's soon.
It's soon.
I keep seeing the trailers.
And it's written by the same author who, I guess, wrote The Martian, the Matt Damon movie as well. So I was definitely interested in it, and so I listened to the book, and it was a fantastic book about a man that's sent into space because something is happening, killing our own sun, and they've discovered that it's happening somewhere else, but it's like reversing. So if they go, it's basically a suicide mission where he's going to go out there and see what is like, why this solar system is not collapsing. But the book is very technical. Like this nerd, this author he loved the space stuff. It is very technical, but done in like you can still at least follow along. And not spoilers, but if you saw the trailer, like he does meet an alien, and then there's a whole thing. So I rewatched the trailer after reading the book, and it made me more excited because now I saw all the stuff. You're like, ooh, that's that. It looks very good.
I went to see Wicked with 2 of my friends, and one of them has read it and the other one hasn't. And he was like, no, cover your eyes. Don't look. Because he felt like the trailer gave away too much. Knowing what knowing what happened in the book, he felt like the trailer gave away too much. That he, like when things are revealed to you in a book, like he felt like it showed its hand too much. So
Project Hail Mary. I didn't know the audiobook were like there's voices and, it's pretty good.
Full entertainment.
Yeah.
I know. So
pretty easy to listen to on a car ride. Takes a while.
Part of me really wants to read the new...
Listen or read?
Listen to the new Harry Potter audiobooks.
Because I still like reading at the end of the day.
But the new Harry Potter audiobooks are full cast. It's not even just like a narrator or like 2 lead characters and like they're doing the voices of it. Like it's a full cast and they have sound effects and...
Oh, dear God.
Yeah.
Just watch the movie at that point.
True.
So that was my first book. And then this was a book that I've been trying to read for a while. I actually own the book. I never got to it. And I have a board game based on the book and I still have never read it. It's called Red Rising.
Okay.
It is a science fiction, like, dystopian. I know, very sci-fi right now. But this is about, in the futures, with different planets that we colonize, and there's different levels of society. Like if you're a gold, you're the top of society. If you're a red, you are a worker of the low, you're down in the mines kind of thing. And of course, they're treated, a little Hunger Gamesy, right? And so the main character, who's a red, some stuff happens, not to spoil it, and he decides to basically like join and sneak in to becoming a gold, including like transforming his whole body, face, everything, to join in these like games that they do, and to basically get revenge for what happened to his people, to his Reds. So it's Red Rising. And there's a whole, there's I don't know, 4 books, maybe 5 books or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But so much so that there's a board game based on it, which I own.
Did you know the board game was from a book?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew because the board game's called Red Rising.
Oh.
And one of the board game companies, Stonemaier Games, that I like a lot, he loves the book series. So he actually reached out to the author and was like, I want to do a board game based on your book. And it's kind of a card-ish game. And what's really cool now is that I've read it is all the characters are there on the cards. It's a set collection game where you're trying to collect like either a bunch of golds or a bunch of reds, because the more you get of each one, they play off each other and give you more points. But some of them say like, if you bring this card in, get rid of all your reds. So it's a balancing thing. But yeah, the book was very good after 10 years of not reading it.
Yeah.
I finally read it.
That's fun.
So I read I listened to 2 books.
I'm so proud.
I'm so learned. Can I join your book club?
Sure.
It's very exclusive.
Actually, I asked Crystal about
I heard.
her family member that writes books about her books.
Yeah, I think, is Crystal joining? I thought
Maybe.
the membership dues were a little steep, though. Like, good God.
Yeah, the dues are read this book by this day and show up.
Yeah, well, she's not going to make it.
Yeah, this month we're reading a sequel, so like it wouldn't make sense. Excuse me. So
What's your favorite books that you've read recently?
I have one book coming up
You brought it?
that
Enough.
I'm excited to read it. I don't read nonfiction.
Yeah.
I,
That means not fake. Just,
both of your books were fiction, but I don't read nonfiction because it doesn't hold my attention. But I'm excited to read this one. It's called Enough, and the little tagline is a field guide for perpetually exhausted entrepreneurs. And I was like, well, if that doesn't speak to me,
it's not going to make you more successful. It's just going to tell you to take a nap.
It might. I don't know. So I'm excited for this one. I definitely have had one of my slowest reading years in recent time this year. But I did have 2 books that I really liked. It was a duet. It was One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. So you could just read them back to back as one big thing, but then it would be like 900 pages long. But it is, I wouldn't say sci-fi. I guess it's more like fantasy, like kind of a dark fantasy. But it's basically like this whole world where the king there's magic that existed, and you were supposed to like use the magic to make the goddesses happy, and then they started like containing the magic into these cards, and then you could use the cards, but the cards had crazy powers, like
This is just Magic the Gathering.
being able to like read someone else's mind, or being able to become invisible, or being able to heal. But that one was like a secret. No one knew that existed. Basically, but one of the girls like absorbed the magical power of one of the cards into her. So this creature basically like lives in her soul, and it's the whole journey of like recollecting all the cards, making the goddess happy again, saving their village, and then like expelling the nightmare out of her. But it was really fun. It was a really cool magic system. For book club, I hosted one of the months that we read this book, and we like all made our own cards like that matched the cards. Because if you wanted to buy those cards that matched the cards in the book, it was like $75 to buy 12 cards.
Smart.
So we just made our own.
Did I tell you Stephanie reached out to me about a board game? Because I guess you guys are reading a dragon book, or we're reading a dragon book. Something about dragons.
We've read several.
And she was like, hey, I want to there's this dragon. First off, she was like, do you know about this game called Wormspan? And I was like, I was like, bitch, here's a photo of it on my board game shelf. I own it. Of course I do. And she was like, oh, like, would it be good to like play as like a thing? And I said, absolutely not. None of you should even come close to that game. You are still too new.
I don't think any...
And then I told her how much it was, and she was like, oh, never mind.
Oh, no. Yeah, she's hosting us next.
Yeah. So you're not going to play a dragon-themed board game called Wormspan.
No, I don't think our book clubs are ever meant for anything too constructive.
Yeah.
Or structured, because we just go off on like side tangents and like pair off and start chatting, and then, you know, eventually we circle back to the book, and then we go off on tangents again and then circle back to the book. As we speak, I have 12 days until our next book club meeting.
You haven't even started your book, have you?
I haven't started my book yet.
Enough.
It is a 24-hour audiobook, not this one. It's called Brimstone. It is a 24-hour audiobook.
Girl, you need to start.
And I haven't started yet. And I only have the audiobook.
They're going to kick you out. I know. How many demerits is that if you don't read it?
I don't know. I didn't finish last month's book either. I know. I'm going to get kicked out.
Chelsea, kick her out.
It's just been so busy.
Aw.
It's so busy. But yeah.
Instead, you could have been listening to it and said, we got to record 12 of these.
Hey, it wasn't my idea to make this a once-a-week podcast.
Okay, let's change it to once a year.
We can do 2 a month.
2 a month.
The 1st and the 15th.
1 a month.
Okay.
So those are your favorite books.
Yeah, those are 2 of my favorite books.
Project Hail Mary. Watch the movie. Don't read the book. It's very technical. Like, they talk about, like, the, you know, terminal velocity to send the rocket in and, like, math equations. Mm-hmm. You know, I was like, okay, nerd. But
was it hard to keep up with, to listen to, with it being so technical?
no, because the voice actor did a good job. And then once you get in, but then there's like, you know, once he's up in space, stuff happens, of course. So then he's like Apollo 13ing, like, okay, I got to do this. And he's actually going, like, doing math problems. Like, okay, if the orbit of this is 10 times this, you're like, I think this motherfucker did the math. Like, I'm not joking. Like, he's not making this up. I think this nerd actually did the formula.
Like the author?
Yes. Not the character. The character is cool.
I'm pretty sure the author probably did.
The character is Ryan Gosling, so you know he's cool. The nerd author, yeah.
Isn't the premise, too, that he's just like a teacher, like a high school teacher or something?
He comes up with he was like a NASA theoretic physics guy, but he had this idea that got published, but he didn't like follow through properly, so he got kicked out but turns out, so then he just goes to teaching middle school, but then it turns out because of this thing, his little theory is actually 100% true, and so now they're like, please, save us. Save us, smart, doctor.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then he wasn't supposed to go up in the spacecraft. There's a whole big thing where, something happens, and then he goes up there, and I don't know how much to spoil it, but
not anymore. Especially because the movie's not out yet either. You don't know what from the book is in the movie.
But I'm very excited for the movie.
That's cool. It's crazy how many TV shows and movies are coming out that are based on books. Yeah. Like, you go into Barnes & Noble or Books A Million or whatever, and they have, like, it's kind of like an as seen on TV kind of section. Of
right here.
Here are all the books that are being turned into movies or TV shows. And it's crazy.
I know why they do it, but I don't like when they change the covers to the movie.
Yes.
That's always been a thing. I get why they do it, but separate church and state. I want my books to be, you can even put on there like the hit movie, but give me the OG cover that they wanted. Listen,
book covers, that could be a whole rant I go
And that's
into.
not how I pictured, so-and-so from when if I read the book first. That's not how I pictured it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really am frustrated with publishing in general, with how many special editions they make, or they take the same book.
Well, stop buying them, dummy.
Well, I haven't bought that many this year, but they make a Target exclusive edition and a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition and a Books A Million. And, like, they all have one thing new in it, like a letter from the author or an additional chapter from a different character's point of view, or, like...
That's weird.
And so it makes you want... Like, if you liked the book, it makes you want to buy all of them. But it's like, how crappy to just screw over everybody.
I've been out of the book loop in a while. I didn't realize it was that cutthroat.
Yes.
Let me see that book.
Not this one. This one's
see it.
probably not
Let me
going
see it.
anywhere. This one's just gonna probably be the one version.
But you know what I think about that practice? Enough. Bye.
Bye.
I gotta take a drink. I think I was on cocaine. I'm like, hey Don.
Hey Jacob.
Ah, fuck that. Hold on.
How was that messed up?
Because I was sitting on my hands like a weird. I was sitting on like this, like a little baby. I was like,
Little baby Jacob.
I'm doing it again.